Hello, this is Chad with Syncfusion, and a customer has a question about our Gantt control for Vue. So let's look at it. Here is the actual customer question. They just want to know how to not allow a user to drag rows that are not parents. So let's look at our sample and see how we did that. Here is our sample. This is in Vue. And to do this, we really just registered for this event, row drag start helper. Now, the data bound event we're using also, but it doesn't specifically answer the question. So row drag start helper. And here is the event. So what we're doing, when the drag has started, we are canceling the event. And that really is all there is to it. It is just that easy. And let me show you here, the event is started and I'm dragging. So I can drop it, drop it here, drop it here. Let's put it right here. So now it's this way. If I go onto this row that has no children and I start the drag, the event's canceled. If I go to any of these that don't have children, there's no drag event. Now, something else we're doing because we thought that if you're not going to allow a row to be dropped or drug, then you probably don't want to show this little draggable icon thing here on the left that we put. So we did on row data bound event, if the record has no children, then we are adding this little bit of CSS. And we created that over here on our HTML page. This is it. This little bit of CSS. We're going to take this row drag icon, which is this little square here, these little dots, and we're going to let them not be displayed. So over here on the actual Gantt, you can see that only things that have children have the draggable icon. So that was what we did. But let me show you a couple of the things about this app. That's a little bit fun, just going through setting up the Gantt. This is our Gantt control here, and we're setting it up. We have said we are allowing drag and drop. And that puts this row, this column rather, here. So if I make this be false, then that column's gone. So you can no longer drag and drop. We have set the height is here. Oh, a couple of things. The data source is defined this way. And we're defining the data down here. This is our little data function. And it's just parsing the data coming in, the data source JS file over here. A couple of things we're doing is we are creating our task fields. These are the fields that are going to show up over here. These are the fields for the tasks. So they'll show up, these columns are going to be those. Well, we're defining the columns here rather. Sorry about that. Defining the columns here. These are the columns that are going to show up in the grid control. This is the height of the control. Label settings. These over here are the labels for the tasks. If we change this, we can let this be any field. If we let it be the ID field, rather ID field, there we go. Then you're going to see the task IDs, just the numbers. Now let's change it back. This right here, this caret that allows you to collapse all the parents, that is defined in our tree column index. So if you let this be 0, then the very first column is where we can collapse the parents. And then one more thing I want to show is our splitter settings. Splitter settings are down here. Here we go. Here's our splitter settings. This determines where the splitter shows up. This is the first column, second column, so it's going to show up at the end of the second column. If we want it to not show up at all, then we put it here. Now, the splitter is still there. You can hide the splitter completely. That's a different thing. But if you just want the splitter to be completely collapsed and let the user make a discrete action or an intentional action to see that grid, then you set it at 0, and now they can come look at it, but it's hidden, but it's way over here by default. Okay, so that was answering the question. We solved it. It was just that easy. And there's little extra tidbits I talked about. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.